Hi, and this is yet another video where I cover the removed textures of Minecraft, and this is another weekly one, so I'll continue to release them for some extra weeks. And also, if you want to see some other videos about removed textures, I have a playlist where I show all of them, and there's a lot of parts. This is part 8, so hopefully you will enjoy the video. And if you will enjoy the video and you want to see more videos about facts like this, I recommend liking and subscribing because it really helps to grow my channel. And also, another reminder, when I will hit 10,000 subscribers, I will do a face reveal. So now, let's start with the textures. In my last video, I kind of mentioned the spawn eggs that got added in a Bedrock beta in 2018, which included the new fish spawn eggs, and later on it just got scrapped. And this is yet another one, this time it's for the cod, and it looks amazing. As I said before, I think that the idea got kind of transformed into the frogs, but yes, I wish that we could have gotten an egg system like frogs, but sadly we never received it. Comment what you think about this and if you want to have these spawn eggs. Okay, so the Habel texture has this pretty nice texture, maybe it looks a little outdated, but it has this red line which shows that it's just put together. But on August 30th, 2017, Job has posted a new picture which included Habels having a transparent or just kind of invisible line. It didn't have a line at all, you could say. It just looked like normal hell. Yes, it looked good, and yes, it could be optional, but I still think that the normal ones look much better. And also, here is one picture in game and how they look like, and it doesn't look too bad in my opinion. It should be a separate block. Okay, so cooked rabbit is an item that you probably don't ever think about, but yes, it exists, and yes, we have it. So yeah, it had a different texture, and it had a pretty ugly one. So way back in snapshot 14W27A, they added cooked rabbit, and it just looked ugly. It just didn't have any texture consistency, it just looked bad. You couldn't even figure out what it was. Lucky enough, in snapshot 14W33B, they finally changed the texture. It wasn't what we have now, because we still got the texture update and things like that, but it looked very similar to what we have now. So now, let's move on. I don't even need a texture to compare the bow to the other one, but in one of the versions in 2010, which was on January 10th, January 10th, yes, they added bows and they looked like this. They were just in the other direction, there was no texture change, it just looked like this. And then 12 days later, they changed the bows to what we have now. And yes, it was a pretty neat change, or maybe it's just because we are so used to the texture now. I don't know, let me know in the comments. Okay, so when you think of a Minecraft mob, you probably never think of the Endermite. It's probably one of the most forgotten mobs in the game, and I don't think that anyone thinks about it. But yes, it exists, and yes, it also had a very different texture or model in the beginning. So it got added in 14W11A, and at the beginning, it was a retextured silverfish. So yes, you probably hate silverfishes, so imagine them just being purple. Okay, so when you see end portal frames, you probably think that they look like this all the time, but they did not. On October 6, 2011, they added end portal frames, and was in Java Edition Beta 1.9 Pro Release 3, and they did not look like the ones that we have at all. They were blue, they had this kind of transparent feature or texture, and they just had this glassy kind of frozen look. It did not look like something related to the end at all. And I think that Mojang knew that, because in beta 1.9 pre-release 4 they added the normal texture, and it was on October 13, 2011, which was 1 week after. And that's where they added end stone and literally the end. So they probably didn't have a good idea for the dimension when they created the frames, but I don't know how they could have made a dimension in 7 days. So I don't even know what they thought when they made that feature. Okay, so cakes have this pretty nice feature, it looks really eatable, I would have eaten this in real life. But it had a very different feature when they did the texture update, and was shown in one of the tweets on November 13th, 2017. And it had this texture, and it looked much more frozen kind of, it didn't have this creamy look. It was much more wider and had these blue edges, and it just didn't look as nice as it does now. And yes, this is the only proof that I have of this texture, so I'm sorry for the bad quality right there. But now we can move on. Okay, so as I said many times, making raw texture was a huge problem because they didn't look too good at the beginning. But it didn't happen for gold, because gold looked pretty good from the beginning, but it still received 2 changes. Okay, so in snapshot 21W14A, the raw gold had this texture and it looked much more sharper on the top. It has still kind of the same dots, the same color, but somehow Japa maybe did not like this. So in the next snapshot it received a new texture and it kinda got a little dented on the sides, so it didn't look the same. And then the next week they kind of rounded off the texture and it looks honestly very good, so I like this, but we didn't need the changes to begin with. Okay, so I've been covering many sand blocks before, but now let's cover the main sand block, of course, sand. And yes, sand got changed in snapshot 18W43A, which was one of the snapshots where they changed most of the textures. And in that version, the sand felt a little more warm, maybe it felt a little smoother. In my opinion, I like the sand much more than what we have now. And I don't know why, but I wish that they kept this texture, because the sandstones and literally everything that had to do with this color, it was perfect. I don't know why they even thought about removing it. But yeah, next week they literally changed the texture of sand to what we have now. And this is one of the few textures that I actually want to be reverted back to what they were when they were tested. So now let's move on. Okay, now we're gonna talk about a smaller change, which is probably a little hard to notice. But yes, when initially Snowballs got changed for the texture update in snapshot 18W43A, they looked like this. They were much more blue than what they are now. And this change was in the game for a long time, around maybe 20 weeks I think. And later on in snapshot 19W08A, they added the texture that we know now. And this is a pretty random thing because it took them so long to, change the texture. Okay, so Pushshirts had different designs and you probably remember them from Minecraft Live and the archaeology showcase. And to compare it, I have a skeleton ceramic shard and I have a normal skeleton Pushshirt. And yes, they changed the names, but it is probably the same thing that they just reworked later on. Last but not least, let's talk about this item, which was found in the game files on Bedrock, but it never made it into the game. So this is kind of not a removed texture, this is an entire removed block. And this is some kind of, I don't know, Skullk Jaw that, as I said, it was never added to the game, it was only found in the files. And this is when they have been working on the new, Skullk things around 1.18 and 1.19. So what do you think this thing could do? So I'm going to end this video kind of with that question. So if you want more videos like this, I recommend liking and subscribing. So see you next time. There will be a new part and it will be the last one for this vacation. It will release next week on Friday. So bye and see you next time.